Welcome to another episode of the Small Business Show. We're glad to have you back. We're going to do something a little different today, aren't we, Linda?
We are, because I had one of my good ideas, Steve.
Uh-oh.
I know, and when I have a good idea, Steve gets worried, don't you, Steve?
Oh, I'm told it's a good idea.
It is a good idea, because what I thought, it's a really big topic today, women in the skilled trades, okay?
Absolutely.
So I went and found some people off the street and dragged them into the guest.
Well, not quite, you know, but I think we got good cross-representation today.
We
so
have,
really
I'm only
looking forward
joking,
to this discussion.
It's a really, really good topic, Steve. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. So, you know, we're going to just take a moment and we'll come back to the show and we'll get right into it on the Small Business Show. Welcome back to the Small Business Show. Let's get into it. We're really looking forward to this panel today. We've got Kyle Alinsky, we've got Jennifer Green, and we've got Nathan Parsons.
Oh, thanks for coming along, guys. Steve and I are very excited to have you along today. And I wanted to really focus on women. We have one woman with us today in the skilled trades. So I don't want you to be scared. I don't want you to be doing any boxing matches and shouting at each other. So first of all, we'll start with Kyle, if you don't mind. Kyle, what is it you do? How did you get into the trades, and how long have you been doing it?
Oh, so basically I started back in high school with just simple house painting, joining my father-in-law on a house painting team. One thing led to another. I joined a company with my father and brother-in-law who were doing sort of handyman services. And then they went different ways, and I carried on with home renovations, and generally the skills I acquired just kept adding up. And today I have a home renovation company, Fresh Looks of KW.
Wow.
And I've been doing it for about 16 years, interior home renovations.
And you look happy enough.
It's a good gig.
You look
I like
too
it.
young to be in business for 16 years.
Oh, you know, it works at my age, yeah.
Oh, and then Miss Jen, as I like to call you, you know, what kind of business are you in, and how long have you been doing it?
I started when I was in high school through the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, where I switched from forensic criminology and going to university and decided to flip and went into the trades into industrial millwright. From there, I went to Conestoga College. I received my license. I competed in Skills Ontario and Skills Canada. Kept going from there, kept rolling, pretty much always said yes to everything, and became a huge advocate not only for the skilled trades but for women in the trades, going from age and gender gap to accepting change in your career and all different types of workshops, keynotes, presenting, which led me to be the president of the Skills Ontario Alumni Association and chair of the Skills Canada National Alumni Committee, trying to go full circle into how we can give back and help with the skilled trade shortage.
I am impressed.
I'm surprised you got that all out.
Well, if you want the rest of it.
Oh, there's going to be plenty
Well,
of
I was going to say my current position,
Oh my
though.
gosh.
I have to mention what I actually do now.
Yeah.
So I was in my trade for about 10 years, and now I work at the Upper Grand District School Board as a maintenance planner scheduler, where I run the preventative maintenance program primarily for our 82 buildings and schools.
Oh my.
Makes me feel lazy.
How do you keep track of all those buildings?
I really love my calendar.
Okay, let's move on to Nathan. Please tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, so I own and operate Verve Electric with my wife Holly. I also got into the trade 17 years old through the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, the OYAP program, through my high school in Guelph. I also competed at Skills Ontario, and I did win, but my category didn't have a national level, so it did stop there for me. I've been in the trade for over 16 years now. So I got in the trade 17, licensed at 23.
Wow.
And then I got my master's license 5 years ago. I wrote the ticket just a few days after my son was born. So I actually wrote the license for that. I think he was about 4 days old at the time.
Whoa.
So, so I got my master's license, and then the company started just after his second birthday. So 3 years now, we've had Verve Electric going.
We have got some amazing people on the show today.
I like the diversity, you know.
I
think everybody's got a different personality, which is great too, right?
Yeah.
I think though that, you know, to talk about just the group of you and how long you've actually been in the trades, you know, a lot of you, maybe I'm old, but you look young.
You do.
I just say, you know, For me, it's great to see that longevity.
It's amazing. It really, really is, because in my sense of why I'm interested in this particularly is because I can never get a tradesperson. You're always too busy. Is that true?
Well, I'll tell you about that.
So I guess the kind of questions we want to ask you is why do you do what you do? I mean, let's start with you. I mean, why did you decide that was the route you wanted to take? I mean, were you always fiddling with electrics when you were little and blowing yourself up? Or?
Well, yeah, I
The
definitely.
chemistry set.
Yeah. I took everything apart when I was a kid. Most of it got back together, but not everything, admittedly. But everything came apart at least once in the house, I think, and it just I always. My grandfather worked with his hands. My grandfather actually worked for Can-Car, which is now Bombardier out of Thunder Bay. He passed away when I was very young, but still, I still just always had that affinity working with my hands.
Cool.
So I just, I would kind of kept trying cars when I was in high school, but it never was my thing.
You mean like a mechanic?
But mechanic.
Okay.
I kept taking auto shop, and but my auto shop teacher noticed that I was really good at the electrical system in the car, so he pushed me towards electrical, and that was kind of, like I said, I started when I was 17, and it's kind of all I've ever done, really.
Plus you had some family influence.
Well, and that's like my grandfather actually passed away when I was 4, so not much influence actually, but still just
that.
Yeah,
that hand and the music.
It must be in the genes.
It must be, because it just, like I said, I always kind of had that affinity. I worked at a hardware store for 2.5 years part-time in high school, and then I went right from a hardware store into the trade. So that's kind of all I've ever done is
Seems like you
work with my hands, right?
Like, so Jen, did you play with dolls when you were young?
Oh,
I did. My grandfather, who's a carpenter, made me this 3-story dollhouse that I played with, and my daughter now has it.
Oh, that's a lovely story. So you stopped playing with dolls?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, I was actually going to go into university, and my careers teacher said this is the last day for co-op, and I thought, hey, what the heck? I had always loved tech, I'd been taking it, but used it as a bird course to get my university grade up even higher to apply. Ended up loving the idea, but how I was going to choose what I wanted, I ended up going through the Conestoga College course guide and read through all the different trades in between all the different sectors and fell upon industrial millwright, loved it, and did a full 180 in high school. And changed my classes and got registered in the OYAP program, Ontario Youth Apprenticeship, and became a registered apprentice while still in high school. And went right after that, started full-time with my company, with Linamar at the time, and got my license, and yeah.
What's an industrial?
I'm glad
whatever
you
said.
That was right on the tip of my
What
tongue.
it is.
Think of us like machine doctors.
Oh.
You go to your doctor,
Yeah.
you fell off your bike, your arm hurts, probably fractured, but you can talk, you can tell what it is, or at least it's pretty evident normally what the issue is, and then they do tests and they figure it out, and their job is to get you back up and running the best that they can, or back to the way that you were. That's my job for a machine. So if it breaks, if it stops, if it has an alarm, it's my job to diagnose, troubleshoot, repair it, and get it back up and going as quick as possible. But an industrial millwright does a little bit of everything. My main part is being a mechanic. It's industrial mechanic millwright. But I also do plumbing, I do rigging, I know how to weld, I do machining, I do blueprints, I do electrical. The old nickname was Jack of all trades and master of none, because we dabbled in a little bit. But now the term is machine doctor.
So we can call you Dr. Green.
No, please don't.
Or the concept of Jill of all trades too, right?
I'm scared to ask Kyle how he got into business. You've probably got an amazing story too.
Well, I don't know, but well, for me, I never really envisioned this as a career when I was a young man. I was really into tech and computers, that sort of thing. I actually went to college for the systems analyst course, and I enjoyed computers, but then going into college and doing that day in and day out, I kind of realized I don't really like this direction. So after a year of that, I didn't carry on. And an opportunity presented itself to work with my dad and brother-in-law, and I grew up in a house with a do-it-yourselfer dad who was very handy. He
You're
worked
very
for
lucky.
yeah, he worked for Black & Decker, and there was power tools in the house all the time, so it was
like
always
candy,
there.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know, it's always
power tools when they come out.
yeah, but I never really thought about it as a career, and then the opportunity was there, and I was no longer going to college, so I just took it on and really enjoyed it. And now I just love it because the variety, I like being physical, being up, working with my hands, and then when something's all done, stepping back and looking at a finished product and feeling proud of it, and moving on to the next one.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've all got such varied stories. I find that fascinating.
Different.
You know. So what is the passion that you feel for what you do on a daily basis? I mean, I can see that in just talking to you, and I can feel that. So you found your calling. You found what you really want to be doing for your life. So that's a passion for you, I would assume. Is that really what motivates you every day?
You walked away from things you didn't like. Yeah. So, as Steve said, you found your passion, right?
Yeah, like I said, I kind of only ever done. I worked at a hardware store and then this. So I wouldn't necessarily say I walked away from anything.
We didn't like the cars, did you? The automobiles?
Like I said, that was just the high school credits. I kind of kept trying cars because it seemed like something I wanted to do, but just never.
Didn't tug at your heartstrings.
Never did really click with me. I don't know. Like I've always just enjoyed working with my hands, and I found something I really enjoy doing, and yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure. Like, it is my passion for sure.
I believe it's your passion, do you?
But I think it is your passion. I think you sort of stumbled into what you're doing in a little bit.
I kind of have 3 different pathways. Yeah. So with the mill writing, I love working with my hands. I love the troubleshooting and the problem solving. But I also love organization. So the current position I'm in as maintenance planner schedule at the school board, I was able to combine the 2 together. And now I'm still working in maintenance, but I'm making a program more efficient and effective and trying to find the best processes and adding to make the buildings and the school board the best that they can be. Yeah, but the advocacy I fell into, because I kind of stuck out like a sore thumb in high school as being this woman in a male-dominated trade or starting into one.
Why.
I know. So advocacy and promotion of trades now has become a huge part of my life, which is definitely a love. So I have these several different backgrounds which I've been able to fall into where I may be out of my trade comparatively, but I followed 2 different paths that I didn't really think would have taken me there, but I love them. And it's evolved from what I found with what I had and combined them together, and I went with it.
So Kyle, with respect to your side, is it really the family that's brought that passion out on you, or is it something a little different?
I don't know if it's the family so much that brought it out, because really my father always worked in more sales, things like that. But the passion is just building things, you know. It's fun to build things and step back and appreciate the work that's been done. And I love providing happy spaces for my clients that they walk into and love. So that's really the joy I get out of it.
Well, that's good. You know, we're going to have some more time to come back and talk about it, but it's really, the passion is what I really gravitate to. And we've seen
you're
that
all
in a couple.
happy as well. You love what you're doing.
So I'm going to thank you, and we're going to actually just take a little break here, and we're going to be right back on the Small Business Show. Welcome back to the Small Business Show. We really just got into a really exciting discussion, and of course then we had to take a break, so we're going to come back and get into a little more.
Yeah, we are. Before we get into the, you know, do you find it difficult in the trades, Jen? I want to ask you all, in your case, do you have any brothers or sisters who are electricians, or, you know, did you follow in their footsteps, or they follow in yours?
No, that I have 3 older sisters. They all pursued academic careers. My parents are both pursued academic careers.
It's interesting.
And like I said, it kind of comes from my grandfather. That's kind of where
must be in the bones.
It must be, because like I said, in my family, no one, none of my friends did. They all pursued academic careers out of high school.
You made a good choice. Kyle, I'm going to jump to you before Jen. I want to say gentle last. Were you married by the time you started? I wondered if it was your wife who said, can you be doing more stuff for me, please?
We were together, not married yet. But I started the business, I think, 2 years before getting married. But she was always very encouraging. And
but I think it's very true that if you are married to someone like you, you find it very difficult to get you to do the work at home because you're so busy.
It can be tricky to get me motivated moving at home. It certainly can. So the trick is to get me excited about what we're going to do, and not doing something for someone else, like my wife, not doing a project for her, but doing it together, getting me worked up about it.
That is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And then, Jen, you know what we're going to be doing now? We're going to be saying to you, my angel, have you found it easy being in the trades? I mean, have you had any difficulties? Were men accepting of you taking the course and working in the factory or wherever you worked?
Yes and no. So I started in 04, 05 when I was in high school. There was lots of people for it, there were some people against it. I definitely ran into some obstacles. My father's a tool and die maker, and my husband now is a general machinist. So I had some people in my background who knew what I might be getting into. But I found that as the years have rolled by and as it's evolved, I continually find myself saying, as I hear about more and more programs, oh, that wasn't there when I started. I really wish it was.
Oh.
And it's really great to see that over the course of almost 15 years from when I started, that there's so many more things available and open to women, whether it's forums or podcasts or shows like this, mentorship, different things to be
So it's
out
easy
there.
today for a young girl at high school or college to enter the trades with no opposition and acceptance?
I think there's a lot of opportunities. So our school board has the cooperative education and the OEAP program, but they also have the grade 7, 8 tech days where the feeder schools get to come into the high schools and try stuff before they even sign up for their classes.
It's good to know.
But I think that the important point too, though, is you're an advocate for your trade, for women in the trades, and I think you do go above and beyond and do a lot of things to try and, promote the trades, but also promote the opportunity that it is there, and
Yeah.
trying to encourage women to be more.
Well, the
trying to get
biggest
more
thing
involved.
is knowledge is power. If they don't know it's there, if no one's showing them, if the
Exactly.
programs aren't available, how are they supposed to know about it? So some of the other programs are dual credit, where you can actually earn college programs credits while you're still in high school. There's the SHISM, the Specialist High Skills Major program, where you can already have special certification and training while you're still in high school before you even get there. Or Conestoga College does a program called Jill of All Trades, where high school students from all over get to come and visit the college for one day and rotate through every classroom with the teachers.
But I
and
guess what
doing
I'm trying to get at, is it easier now that you're all grown up and an advocate than it was years ago for young girls and women to get into the trades? Is it more encouraged and accepted?
My personal opinion, yes.
So why wasn't it when, maybe 10, 20 years ago, why was it not more accepted,
I think it falls into the same stereotype as anything else. It's really, really easy to take a step forward in something, but then once that knowledge is out there, it's really hard to change someone else's mind. You're really gonna have to feed them new information. So it's a lot harder to take a step back. So a stereotype that's already been there for ever, it's going to take some time.
So
and
basically the
you see it go
education's
forward.
changed and they're more open to it. So have you guys, you first, Nathan, have you worked with many women in the trades?
Yeah, no, I've worked with many women in the electrical field. I was actually just having this conversation with a client the other day. I've worked with probably about a dozen or so electricians, female electricians over the years. I have worked with one female mason. I've worked with 2 female drywallers.
Wow. I don't even know a woman
I think that's part
electrician.
of it. That's part of it, is not being aware of it.
I don't know anybody in that. How did you find these people?
Well, I was a union electrician for many years, and so I worked for the same contractor for most of that time. But we cycled through many electricians over the years, just with the projects ups and projects downs.
You had no problem working with women?
No, they were all great.
How about you? I mean, do you meet many women doing what you do?
I can't say I do, but I'm in a little bit of a different scenario where I'm working in a single home mostly, and there's not that many trades. I'll have a plumber come in and an electrician, but in most cases they are male because in the most part the skilled trades workers are male. I find, even though it's growing, I think the number of females. In my case, I'm usually coming across other men most of the time.
Let me ask you a question. Like, I'm not sure everybody who's unionized versus non-unionized, but do you find the unions are trying to promote and support getting more women
That's a good
involved in the trades?
question.
I don't think it's a question of union versus non-union. There's a lot of companies, big and small, that have their own programs going on. For example, Linamar is partnered with the Upper Grand District School Board and the Wellington Catholic District School Board for hiring women right out of high school, where they go in the schools, they do a presentation, they come on a tour, they write some tests, and at the end of it, if you pass all of it, then you're offered an apprenticeship. So companies in general just getting out there and being more aware, same thing, it's all about the information.
Linamar is a very good example, and I'm not going to get into it to a significant degree, but just the fact that the CEO is a lady, and I'm sure she speaks and that permeates through the organization in terms of
That's
trying
really
to promote
important.
I worked there for 10 years, and it's a big thing to be able to see someone at that level in a manufacturing company that hires at least 4 different trades for its maintenance departments.
Wow. And do you find that from your perspective, It seems like you're seeing more women in the electrical trade, or is that other trades as well?
Because the majority of my exposure is to electricians, or has been over the years. I would say that is specifically why I've seen more women in electrical or other trades. But admittedly, I don't think I've ever come across a female plumber yet in my travels, or a female HVAC. But like I said, 2 female drywallers, 1 female mason, and probably a couple dozen female electricians over the years. I do have a friend that is involved, like she's an electrician, and she's involved with advocating for women in the trades as well a lot. And she travels all over, speaks to it, same kind of thing, just like similarly to what Linamar does. She goes into high schools and speaks to the high school students and about the importance of women in the trade too. So yeah, there's lots of...
So you've all got children, right? Small children. So would you encourage your kids to go into the trades? We had this discussion earlier with some guests, and basically if the kids want to go into the trade, yes. If they don't want to, you'd be okay with that?
Yeah, yeah. My son just turned 5 a couple weeks ago.
Let me ask you a direct question. Does he know how to wire you?
No, he doesn't know how to. He knows how to turn a screwdriver. He understands what the tools are. I actually bought him a toolbox a year ago and put real tools in. He's got a real hammer. He's got real screwdrivers, all that stuff. So
so you've got a son. Have you got a daughter?
I have a son and a daughter.
Are you encouraging both of them to be open to things that are typically a man's profession and a woman's? You know what I'm saying?
My goal is to make everything open, and they can make their choice. I want to make sure that they can try each of them, because it comes right back down to the information thing. If they don't get an opportunity to try it, how are they going to know if they like it or not?
Great,
so my son loves cooking. My daughter and my son both love tools. My son also loves being on the computer. So I mean, it's all...
It's a good... And what about you've got...
I have 2 daughters, 5 and 7.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Do they get the hammer and the nails? And
I'll tell you, just on Saturday, I was setting some tile, and my oldest came and said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "I would love for you to help me." She's 7, so she came.
So you're an advocate for women.
And she was setting tiles, and I said, "Hey, kid, keep this up, and I'll start paying you for it." You know?
Oh, there you go. You're raising your own workforce.
This is really good. For a start, I had no idea. I've never met a woman plumber in my life, you know. And I thought, Jen, I didn't know it had got a little bit easier for women in the trades. You've explained to us now about the education awareness and the fact that you are already, you're not even encouraging your daughter wants to do the work you do, because it's fun, isn't it?
And it's just letting them know that you don't say this is for boys, this is for girls.
No.
Just everything is open to them, like you were saying, Jen.
A general question, though. Do you find, I always hear, there's not enough people in the trades?
No.
So is that a common feeling?
Why?
Well, here's some good numbers for you on statistics. So by 2025, it's estimated that 1.2 million jobs will be open. 40% of those will be skilled trades.
Thank you, everybody, for being on the show today. Kyle, you know, Jennifer and Nathan, it's been great. We've had a great time.
It's been lovely.
And we'll be right back on the Small Business Show. We just had a really great discussion about the whole environment of trades, and certainly spent a little time talking about women in the trades.
I know, and it ended too soon for me. I had so many more questions for you guys.
Well, I'm learning about, there's so many things that I just hear in the news that isn't necessarily the case. And I think we're getting to the day where we're going to see more and more people.
I do think we need more tradespeople in general, but I would like to see more young girls at school encouraged to look at the different, you know, trades and think about the possibilities. That's an important point, though, because actually in the schools I still think there's some deficiencies in terms of making people and giving them the exposure. So we'll all, you know, work on being advocates and making it happen, I think.
I think the more we talk about it, the better it is. It certainly is.
I'm not in the trades. I'm no good at knocking a nail in or doing plumbing. I'm no good. Are you any good?
Either that or I pay people to do it. I'm sorry, you know, you can't be a jack of all trades, right?
That's why we have you guys.
But it's great. But you know what? Let's get excited. We're going to do a little bit more about this, and we want to see everybody come back. We'll see you again on the Small Business Show.